right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Scoreline Sports. In this one, we're going to be going through the NFL playoffs and my predictions for the NFL playoffs. So, starting with the Bills and Steelers, this one got postponed. It got moved to Monday because of, I believe, a blizzard warning in Buffalo. So, that's interesting. There's going to be two games on Monday now instead of three on Sunday. The Bills are coming in as possibly the hottest team in the league, though. They've won five in a row and six of their last seven, including being fresh off a division clinching win on the road at Miami, in which they were in control for much of the second half. The Steelers, on the other hand, clinched their playoff win with that win over Baltimore. Granted, Baltimore was playing their backups, but it was still a good win for Pittsburgh. And Mike Tomlin, credit to him for the job he has done with this squad, getting them not just to another winning season, but to another playoff berth. Truly incredible. He's quite a great coach. As far as injuries go, no Gabe Davis for Buffalo and no TJ Watt for Pittsburgh. And I think that's going to be critical for Pittsburgh. If they can't pressure Josh Allen, then this offense is going to get what they want against Pittsburgh's defense. And so for that reason, I'm going to go with Buffalo to win this one. Next, we got Miami versus Kansas City. This is interesting because Tyreek Hill is playing his first game in Arrowhead since departing from the team, or since being traded away, I should say. There are debates as to whether or not this game should even be played because I looked on the weather report and the wind chills are potentially reaching negative 30 degrees, which is just crazy. But in terms of the game, Miami has really hit a rough spot injury wise at the worst possible time, specifically in secondary and wide receiver areas. Now, Kansas City has not had a season up to their normal standards, but I have to imagine that Mahomes will be able to get what he wants against the banged up defense of Miami. And for this reason, I'm going to go with Kansas City getting the win here. Next, we got Cleveland and Houston. This one is on NBC at 4 o'clock today. The Joe Flacco Cinderella run looks to continue versus a Houston team that has just won the AFC South, and I really admire and respect what Houston has been able to do this year. It's truly incredible the turnaround they've had with first-year quarterback CJ Stroud, and credit to them for getting through this tough year with their first-year quarterback and ending up in the playoffs, hosting a playoff game. It's pretty incredible. However, I think the Browns' defense, combined with Joe Flacco's play as of late, is going to be enough to elevate the Browns to a win here. Moving over to the NFC wild card, we got Green Bay and Dallas. This is another kind of revenge game because Mike McCarthy, Dallas Cowboys head coach, is returning to face his former team, the Green Bay Packers. And for many, this is probably going to be a pencil in for Dallas, but it's easy to overlook the Packers. But I'm telling you guys, do not look over this Packers team. This receiving core is no joke. Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, and company are a fast, explosive group who are going to give the Dallas defense some challenges. But despite this, I do think that Dallas has been too good to have a Dallas collapse in the first round, so I am going to go with Dallas in this one. Next, we have, I kind of gave that one away, but next we have LA and Detroit. This is perhaps the most emotional game of the weekend because Stafford and Goff are squaring off against their former teams. Jared Goff, in his press conference earlier in the week, said that he wanted to win one so badly for this city. And, on the other hand, you had Aaron Donald saying some stuff too, so you can tell that this is going to be a really emotional game. I mean, it's really going to come down to this kind of sketchy line secondary. Can they get enough stops against this explosive Rams offense to give Jared Goff and this offense a chance to jump ahead? I ultimately do think that the Detroit Lions are going to get enough stops on defense to be able to win this one, and I think it's going to be a close one, an instant classic, but I am going to go with Detroit to get their first playoff win in decades. And then we got an surprisingly interesting matchup with the 5-4. You got Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. With all the criticism and negative attention the Eagles have been getting over the past few weeks, this team honestly just looks dead in the water, and it's not helping that they're facing injury questions on offense. AJ Brown is going to be out for this game. I know Jalen Hurts was having some issues with I think his middle finger during practice throughout the week. And again, this defense too for Philadelphia has been especially fragile. They have to know that it's now or never to step up, or else their season is over. And the Buccaneers, while having weapons that could essentially terrorize this defense, they only put up 9 points against the worst team in the league last week. They're not unbeatable for this Eagles team, and the NFC South was in general, a poor division this year. But overall, I feel like the Buccaneers have just underperformed against better competition throughout the year. And so, despite the Eagles being quite hobbled and lacking confidence, I am going to go with them in the upset win here. Then moving on to the divisional round in the AFC, we got the number one seed Baltimore taking on the Browns. This one is going to be a great game, classic AFC North battle in the playoffs. Both teams have defenses that have really stifled their competition of late and throughout the season, and I think the message for this Ravens team has been very clear coming into the playoffs. They do not want to go out early again as the top seed like we saw in 2019 when Lamar Jackson also won the MVP. Remember, they lost in their first game in the divisional round against Tennessee. And with Lamar Jackson playing so well, I do think that Baltimore is going to get the win here, and the Joe Flacco Cinderella story is going to come to an end. But a great season will be had for the Cleveland Browns. Then we got the Chiefs at the Bills in the divisional round, the other divisional matchup for the AFC. When these two teams play, it's bound to be a classic, especially in the playoffs. It feels like we've been treated to this matchup way too many times than we actually deserve in the playoffs, but it's always a great game. Obviously, Buffalo won earlier in the season off that, not so controversial offsides call that the Chiefs thought was controversial, but it was the right call. So that could motivate the Chiefs to play better in this game. But on the other hand, Buffalo, like I said, they are one of the hottest teams in the nation. And it's going to be played in a hostile Buffalo crowd that really wants this one. And so I think this dynamic Bills offense and defense that has stepped up of late will lead them past the defending champs. So give me the Bills. Next, we got San Francisco and Philadelphia. This is going to be a rematch of last year's NFC Championship game, except this time the roles kind of seem to be reversed as far as who's the favorite. Last year, San Francisco lost Brock Purdy in the game, and Philadelphia was really able to just kind of blow past the 49ers. And then this year, it feels like it's the 49ers who are going to be able to blow past the Eagles. Um, and I honestly do think that is what's going to happen. It's going to be a tough ask for this Philly defense to be able to stop this San Francisco incredible offense enough times for them to get this win. And so I do think the 49ers are going to get a pretty solid, convincing win here against the Eagles. Next, we have a rematch, Detroit at Dallas, a rematch of the Week 17 game. This one was a controversial game because, we don't really know if Detroit that 2 point conversion call, they could be the two seed right now. So now we're starting to see those implications come back into play now in the postseason. But it's not time to speculate on that. Let's focus on this game. The Lions are going to be fresh off their first playoff win in Los Angeles, and they're going to have a ton of momentum. And after they nearly beat Dallas last time when the stakes were not as high, I feel like they're going to have a lot of confidence that they can beat them again this time. And so I know I went with Detroit last time against Dallas, and I'm going to go with them again. I just think the Lions are going to get revenge and win this one. Moving on to the AFC Championship game, Buffalo at Baltimore. This one is going to be a great one. I think going into it, I would give the Ravens the slight edge because it is a home game. But also, you guys, there's just something about this Buffalo team that I just love. And I have so much confidence in this team to get these tough wins that honestly, to me, they feel like the team of destiny in these playoffs. So call me crazy, but I think that Josh Allen is going to have a great game and they're going to get enough stops to win and advance to their first Super Bowl in quite a while. Next, we have the 49ers versus the Lions in the NFC Championship game. This is going to be the toughest matchup for this Lions defense all season. And the 49ers are going to come out looking for, motivated. They're going to be motivated. They're really going to want to get back to the Super Bowl because you guys have to remember the last two seasons they've lost in the NFC Championship game to the Rams and the Eagles. So third time maybe the charm for them. Maybe that's what they're thinking. This one is definitely going to come down to the wire, but in the end, I do think the Lions' magic is going to run out, and I think the 49ers are going to make the Super Bowl. Then in the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 58, we're going to have Buffalo versus San Francisco. This one's going to be a great game. Regardless of who wins, the other team should have nothing to be ashamed of. It's definitely going to be, it's one of those games where, really it's tough to pick a winner. But like I said earlier, guys, there's no real reasoning behind this. Well, I mean, I suppose there is. Buffalo's been playing really well. But I just think Buffalo has got it in them, and I think this is the year where they really close it out. Josh Allen's been playing really well. If he can minimize turnovers, They've been playing really well as a whole throughout the past 6 weeks or so. And while the 49ers are going to be tough to stop, I think the Bills are going to get it done. So I am going to take Buffalo Bills to win Super Bowl 58. That may be a controversial pick, but that's what I'm going with. And I have a good amount of confidence in that pick. So, anyways, that's my picks for the NFL playoffs. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what your guys' playoff picks are. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Please, I love the interaction with the fans. Uh, so definitely do that if you would like to. Leave a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't. And otherwise, enjoy the playoffs. I'll see you guys in the next one.